Without a Net, which was honoring its 35th anniversary. Mikey said it was the second show in New Halen. We rocked it. No fixing or re-recording of any of it. What you see and hear is actually how it went down. I seem to remember Ace Frehley stumbling in backstage after the show to say hi, and I don't think we recognized him without his makeup. Fun times for sure. That was from Mikey. And Sammy said, we actually filmed 2 nights in New Haven for this release, but the first night management told Eddie he had to be completely sober because there was so much money on this shoot. Let's just say he killed it, and when we played/filmed a second night. Goes to show you some guys got to do it their own way. Back in those days, he said it cost $350,000, which was expensive at the time to film that show. So what he basically said is Eddie had to be loaded for the performance. They had him be sober for the first one, and the second night was better because Eddie, I guess, was drinking. He was always...
Well, that's interesting because I thought they couldn't use most of the first night because there were some recording difficulties.
I think that was a lie. Yeah.
I wonder.
Yeah,
I wonder.
It was August 26th and 27th of 1986 in New Haven, which obviously was called New Halen, Connecticut that night. Yeah, that was something. But I have to say, though, one thing about that video, it is really well done. That's one of the best concert films I've seen put out like that. That was really well done. I remember as a kid, I saw that thing and I lost my mind. Oh my God. I saw it in the store and I didn't have enough money to buy it. So I put it on my Christmas list and it killed me. I had to wait like a month to see it. And I had seen the show live, but I couldn't believe that it was coming out on VHS at the time. And I watched the hell out of that thing. It was like nonstop playing that thing. I was upset, though, that they cut it up. They didn't give you the full show. I never understood why, but I think they cut off good enough. I think they cut off You Really Got Me. They cut off the jam that they did, the guitar duel. I don't know why they did that, but that's what they did, Dave. And, maybe I thought it would be nice, but this is not going to happen because Van Halen doesn't do any of this stuff. It'd be the 35th anniversary. It would be nice if they had even put out maybe a Blu-ray of it with the full show, number one, and maybe a CD to go with it, but obviously they don't think along those lines, so...
Right.
What can you do? Well, we're on to Wolfgang Van Halen, and let me tell you something. He is not stopping with the tweets, and he is going ham here. And I tell you, the one thing that really gets me upset about all this stuff is, and I know, like Wolf says, he likes to fool around and joke around. It's the way he deals with his stress with the tweeting, right? But the thing that really gets me is he seems to have this negative attitude towards the Van Halen fans, like us, like the old guys. He makes comments, like he says, the thing about Van Halen fans like this, like he was complaining about one of them who, don't get me wrong, they make nasty comments. And they say, you should be really honoring your father and playing a song. All right, we all understand that's what you want, but he's not going to do it. And he came out and he pushed back a little bit and he said, I'm not fucking playing Panama for you guys. Like he gave like a little snap. And one guy was like, Wolfie, I like your stuff. I just think it's time to honor your dad now. You've already shown that you can stand on your own. And he came back and said, I'm not fucking playing Panama for you guys. And then he did something which was very funny. Someone was saying that, you're riding your dad's coattails, right? So what he did was he did this joke. This was so fun. I don't even know how the fuck he did this. So he made a little action figure, like it looked like a toy. It says Wolfgang's 100% genuine Van Halen coattails, only $51.50, made with 100% real VH stripes, and it's like a suit tails that you'd see at a wedding, like an old-fashioned wedding, with Eddie Van Halen stripes, and it's got a photo of Wolf and an autograph, and he says, everybody wants some, and it says, I won't ride them, but now you can. Pick up your 100% genuine Van Halen coattails at thisisjustajokeandnotactuallyreal.com. And he was trying to piss on everybody. That was funny. I think that's funny.
It was funny. It's too bad it was fake. I was ready to buy one.
Let me tell you something. Sure they would have. But the weird thing is he went on Twitter, and one on our real rant here was crazy. He said, the thing about Van Halen fans like this is that by being nice to fans, they mean dealing with the unwanted daily attacks from the bitter 50-plus-year-olds, which I'm just not going to do. If someone's being an asshole to me, I'm going to make a joke or tell him to fuck off. Deal with it, bro. Imagine your dad dies, and then legions of people with him as their profile picture say say horrible shit to you all the time. That's social media to me. It's as if by being a Van Halen fan for however long, they think they somehow bought stock in my existence and can tell me how I should be living my life, how my relationship with my father was, and how I should be honoring him. It's fucking weird, dude. I'm just on here trying to have a good time, live my life, use this stupid app, and share stuff with you guys. I ain't got time for the bullshit, so I'm gonna turn it into something fun for me by making fun of the dipshits because they make it so easy. If by being so available on here means people will misconstrue my intentions, take things I say out of context to use against me, and get the wrong idea about me in general, then so be it. I know what I'm about, and nobody can change that. So basically, fuck that guy is what I'm trying to say. Ha ha. I love pinning shitty comments on Instagram, leaving it up all day, and then blocking everyone that likes it. It's a multi-kill. Bro, you know I can see you liking this awful shit, right? Get out of here. LOL. So I was like, oh, God. So listen, do me a favor. Leave this fucking guy alone. Let me tell you, any Van Halen fan that is badgering Wolf, just fucking stop. There's no reason. And you know what? You're going to get less from him if you continue. It is absolute insanity. First of all, if you want a great rock album, go get his album. I think it's phenomenal. I can't promote it enough. That's number one. If you're not into it, no problem too. Just don't listen to it. But you can't expect him to give you what you want. You have plenty of albums and tours to look at on YouTube. Just do that and leave the fucking guy alone. I mean, my God, he's under so much stress. And to have this kinds of stuff, and he already has anxiety, it's just not cool. What do you think?
Now it's like a game.
Yeah.
Now it's a game. Because now they'll know if they say something that he doesn't like, he'll respond back.
Yeah, I know.
You know? I mean, you know, now you get the rush. Now you get the thrill.
I know.
And he's reading it, and that's the problem. If he just didn't read it, let Peeps post on social media or whatever, you'd probably feel a lot better.
Yeah, I know. Well, Mammoth is also going to be overseas. They already announced dates, Dave, for summer 2022. So they're going to be playing in Berlin and Frankfurt and Hanover, Dortmund, and other locations overseas with the Scorpions, if you can believe it. So Mammoth continuing to support some of the old rock standbys like Guns N' Roses and the Scorpions. So what do you make of that?
That's another good gig for him. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
Now he's opening for the Scorpions, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's cool. That's another. I mean, it's not as big as Guns N' Roses, but it's still an impressive gig.
Remember, overseas they are way bigger. They're huge overseas. So,
right. Which I say it's a good gig for him. So man, run with it. I'm very excited. He's getting all this, good exposure for his album.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, interesting enough, he did some more press. He noted that his uncle Patrick Bertinelli, which is Valerie's brother, is serving as his road manager. So he's on the road with him, and he sort of runs his bus. And he said, it's a little sad, he said, the past year and a half hasn't been a really creative time for me. There was a lot that's taken my attention away from wanting to write music. And he added that going into the pandemic, he had a handful of demos ready to work. But then as life started to really happen, I lost that creative bug. Just the weight of everything. I know exactly what my dad would say. Then he also talked about the unreleased Van Halen stuff, and he says, I know exactly what my dad would say. It's unreleased for a reason. I put out the good stuff. I'm not here to help aid in that decision. He says, granted, the two people who would be best suited to make those decisions would be Al and myself, but even then, it would have to be something really important and special in terms of releasing anything. So that is not going to be happening anytime soon.
It's over, Johnny. It's over!
He's going to be playing a date at the Whiskey, a solo date at the Whiskey A Go-Go, which has got Van Halen roots because that's where Van Halen filmed the videos for Running with the Devil and You Really Got Me, and they used to play there all the time. So he says it'll be a fun little homecoming, so he's excited about that gig. What do you think of that, Dave? What do you think about his comments there? It doesn't look like anything's going to come out. I mean, really. He said it has to be extra special,
He's focusing on his own career, like he said he would, and I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah.
Until they get somebody to go through the tapes and start looking through them and helping them with the process, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah. He said that his solo gigs are actually more pressure for him. He said even though the stage and the audience is bigger with Guns N' Roses, he said the solo gigs are way more pressure. He said for Guns N' Roses, he said, "Oh, you're the jester to lead everybody to Guns, and I'm totally happy with that, and it's a really good time." He said, but when we headline, that's kind of what makes me more nervous because everybody's paying more attention. He says you feel more of an obligation to make sure they're having a really good time because they went out of their way to come see your band. Again, was shutting down the rumor that he's trying to replace his father's legacy. He says, I think it's rude of people to assume that. People view bands or actors or musicians as not really people like them, but just kind of a thing that gives them stuff they like. And I think if people sat back and realized that I just lost my father and now they're expecting me to take his job and continue to play in a band instead of being my own person, I think it's really rude of people to assume something like that. I think it's kind of selfish. I have to deal with losing my father. I think other people can deal with losing a band they really like. Some things just suck, and this is one of them. And I think if I can learn to figure out how to deal with it, I think other people should do the same. So, heavy words, man. Heavy words. It doesn't look like he's enjoying doing any press.
I think he's getting tired of the press. But I see what he's saying. I'm sure the pressure's on more when you're a headliner.
Yeah. Oh,
because when you're an opening act, really, how many people are really there to see you? Yeah, you're playing for a big stadium because you're opening for Guns N' Roses, but it's not even like half full yet. But yeah, I'm sure he feels the pressure in a smaller place where all eyes are on him.
Yeah.
I get what he's saying.
Now, there's this new book that came out called Immortal Axes, and it's by Lisa S. Johnson, and it's this big coffee table book that is like hundreds of pages, and it's a huge, heavy book. It's high-gloss photos of famous guitarists' actual instruments, and it's got something like, 178 rock stars in it, and it's a mixed with all different people, and of course, in there is Van Halen bassist Michael Anthony for his classic Jack Daniels bass on page 235 to 237. It shows you multiple close-up photos of the front and back, plus some verbiage on the axe. It's one of the 3 basses made by John Valesky. He's the senior designer at Yamaha Guitar Department. Now, Mike has one. One is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and the third is unknown. And my guess is Midwest Ron has it. That's what I think. No one even realizes that Midwest Ron is hanging on to that bass. And because he's got that collection going. God knows what he's got in that collection.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody, but I got it in the back of my closet.
I know. I think the remains of Mark Stone might be in that collection, along with many other
no, come on, man. Too soon. Too soon.
So now also featured in the book is David Lee Roth bassist Billy Sheehan for his 2011 Yamaha Attitude Limited 3 BS signature bass, which is the third and most recent version of Billy's signature bass on page 216 to 17. But missing is Eddie Van Halen's guitar. No one knows why that's not in there. Perhaps it wasn't allowed to be photographed because everybody knows the Frankenstein is so locked away. There's a foreword by Peter Frampton, afterward by Susie Quattro. It's edited by Brad Tolinsky, our friend Dave from Eruption, Conversations with Eddie Van Halen. And other guitarists featured in there are Buddy Guy, Dave Grohl, Dimebag Darrell, Elvis Presley, Eric Clapton, Geezer Butler, George Thorogood, Jimi Hendrix, Joan Jett, John Foxx, Keith Richards, Kirk Hammett, Kurt Cobain, Paul McCartney, Pete Townsend, Tom Petty, and Zakk Wylde. So this is definitely a book you're going to want to check out if you guys are into guitars. Immortal Axes by Lisa S. Johnson. You can get it on Amazon. And wanted to let you guys know that the Reels channel, that's REELZ. Okay, I don't know if you guys have it. I know I have it here in New York. Dave is too cheap to pay for television, so he can only watch things on YouTube. But there is this channel called the Reels channel, and they do a lot of documentaries. Now, if you remember, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, we did a story on the podcast about the Van Halen Breaking the Band episode that they did on it with Sammy and Mike were interviewed. We did a whole thing on it. Well, They are back doing another Van Halen show. That a lot of people were thinking that this crew was running around doing a documentary on Van Halen. That is not the case. It is the Reels channel doing an episode of the stories behind the songs. So what they do sometimes is if they do a breaking band, it's sort of the history of how the band broke up, this and that. And then they also do sometimes an episode called The Story Behind